I'm Chima Williams. I'm a lawyer by training, and I'm an environmental human rights activist. My passion for the environment did not start from my course of study as a lawyer or by my training as a lawyer. It started with my association with some personalities, as an activist in Nigeria, growing up in Nigeria. As a student, I belonged to civil liberties organization. I belonged to Amnesty International, which two prominent civil rights groups as at then, and I coordinated them at the students level in my institution. Through that, I came in contact with personalities like Nimo Bassi, who is my boss today, and one of the profound activists, campaigners for environmental justice in the world as at today. Now, we all were like somewhat students of late Ken Saro-Wiwa of blessed memory. And I recall then, as a student leader, I was a volunteer for environmental rights action, Friends of the Earth Nigeria. Then it wasn't Friends of the Earth Nigeria, it was purely environmental rights action. I was a volunteer because all of them came from the background of civil liberties organization, and became that. And in course of participating in the activities of environmental rights action, this idea of something can be done to really see that environmental justice is brought about in this country, because it was an area that people didn't know so much about until the state hanging of Ken Saro-Wiwa, which we complained. And in course of that, it might interest you to know that I started the first ever student environmental movement in Nigeria, called Student Environmental Assembly Nigeria, which is today in existence in almost close to 20 tertiary institutions in Nigeria. Now drawing support from the work of environmental rights action Friends of the Earth Nigeria. Now, in those growing days, was in that development stage when I started the Student Environmental Assembly. Ken Saro-Wiwa was hanged, and I mobilized students, in protest, and issued the first statement I issued as a member of Student Environmental Assembly was on the hanging of Ken Saro-Wiwa, calling the state to order on that. And now, as a backgrounder, I had attended all the youth activisms and associated as a National Association of Nigerian Students leader, growing from that background. So it wasn't a difficult thing for me to associate with all the big names in the Nigerian human rights campaign system. And in course of that, for all of us in Nigeria, the eye-opener was the state killing of Ken Saro-Wiwa. That ignited the passion of everybody to say, hey, if this man was killed for this cause, then this cause must not die. We must champion this cause to immortalize him and his ideas. Okay, so from that perspective, the zeal to now begin to think about the environment became stronger. And with the background of a human rights activist and now a lawyer, now he metamorphosed into an articulated idea through now, since I didn't read environmental law in the university, I have to do a lot of research. I have to do a lot of reading, and I have to do a lot of practical, environmental monitoring, because first and foremost is that in environmental rights action plans of the earth, everybody, starting from the executive director Nemo Bassi to the cleaner in the organization, is an environmental monitor. So you must be alive to identify the changes in the environment. So now with that, it paved way, given that environmental rights action is an organization that allows you to develop according to your ability, giving you all the support that you need. And that support is what has brought me now to a global environmental activist, from this part of the world. Okay, so that is how Chima Williams, metamorphosed from a human rights activist to an environmental human rights activist and lawyer today.